Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of ClueCon Weekly. Joining us this week is Manish Thakor, project lead at Ecosmob. We've been doing a lot of work with Ecosmob. They've been a long-time partner of us, and it's always great to have someone from the company in here. And I have a special spot for technical sides of things. So I'm super happy to have you here, Manish. Thank you for joining us.
So nice to meet you, Luca. And I just give my quick introductions. So my name is Manish Thakor, and I'm working as a senior project manager in Ecosmob. Along with it, like I am also managing the projects planning and executions. As you know, like Ecosmob is a leading VoIP software development company, and we are strive to deliver innovative and customer-centric solutions to our customers. We are also providing solutions for web and mobile application development, also AI ML related solutions.
Good. And well, uh, so I think you've been working on a few things in the recent past, and we've spoken to a couple of your colleagues about a few projects. But when you sent in a topic, I think it was really interesting to me. Like you work on real time call event processing. First of all, what's the use for that? And second, what are the challenges you encounter?
Okay, so as you know, like real-time call event processing is a critical component for telecom platforms, right? Particularly in managing communication data for functions like billings, call analytics, uh, analytics, customer services, as well as many things like we can consider loggings and many more use cases are there. So if we can talk about particular things, so we can know like uh, by using this, we can develop. Sorry, I just okay. So there could be many use cases. For example, we can say call analytics. So in call analytics, we can collect and analyze the data for call volumes, durations, and participant behavior. There should be a multiple use cases. Second is we can say real-time notifications. So we can trigger specific alert for some specific events. For example, missed call are there, if any high priority customer calls are there. So by using these events, we can create this kind of real-time notifications. As well as we can say like some IVR enhancement we can also achieve using these call events. We can also take the routing decisions based on these call events. So there should be a many use cases for these call events.
Good. Yeah, I think a big challenge in running SignalWire, but any telephony platform in general, is the amount of events you get when you're running thousands of calls because there's everything going on from ringing to hanging up to
All right.
messages being played. So, what technology have been using to bear the brunt of all that? What platforms you're working on?
So basically, the technology we are using FreeSWITCH as
Mhm.
a telephony engine, right? And if we can talk about these event processings, so for the event processing as a message broker, we are using Kafka and RabbitMQs, right? And along with it, like we are also developing our microservices in Python and Node.js. So like with the FreeSWITCH, right, we
Mhm.
can integrate the messaging queues and to handle large volumes of these events, and which will provide us scalable as well as flexible architecture for handling these call events. So yeah, on top of like we are using with FreeSWITCH this call events things.
The Are you using anything like Kafka or Redis for the actual eventing side of things, or is it something you
Okay, so as
implemented
I mentioned,
using
like we are using RabbitMQ and Kafka as a
Rabbit?
message broker, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
RabbitMQ and the Kafka as a message broker. So through by using this message broker, we are handling thousands of call events. And basically, the purpose of to using this messaging queue, we can actually decouple our real-time communication applications from a processing logic, right? So yeah, we are using this text.
How did you pick one of them? I'm asking because there's a lot of different architectures for processing queues. Some of them are proper, like Kafka and RabbitMQ are action queues. Some other people using, there's even someone using Erlang MQ or something that's built in languages like Node. There's a couple. I hear good solutions for that. So, how did you pick Kafka over, say, well, something else like Erlang MQ or
Okay.
whatever?
Basically, I am more familiar with the RabbitMQ because I am using RabbitMQ in my multiple projects. And the base thing is the RabbitMQ, like we can also set up the RabbitMQ clusters, right?
Mhm.
Which will give us the good hiability and the scalability point of view. So I'm more familiar with RabbitMQ, and in RabbitMQ, if we can talk about the queues, so there should be a multiple, like many queue features are there. For example, classical queues are there, quorum queues are there, right? Of course, like each queue will have their own benefits. So yeah, I'm working and utilizing this RabbitMQ. And in Kafka, so recently just we have also started to utilizing Kafka, but of course, like there should be some more work should be required on the Kafka side.
Yeah, the I feel like Rabbit. So first of all, I am one of the few actual Erlang programmers out there. I don't do much Erlang anymore, but I've done a lot of Erlang for a while. Then some Elixir, but I did a lot of Erlang. And I think RabbitMQ is example of why sometimes a language makes the product. Like the fact that RabbitMQ is incredibly powerful, and it's like that because it's built in Erlang. It's something that not many people do, but RabbitMQ is really a very good solution. Kafka is more of a standard. That's probably why everybody gravitates toward Kafka, and we use it internally. I'm not a mega fan. To me, it's a bit too complicated, but everybody uses it, so you have to, it is what it is.
Yeah, of course. And both have the different pros and cons for the RabbitMQ and Kafka. But yeah, like currently we are using RabbitMQ to handle thousand of call events, and it is working very fine or very good. Like it is the clusters of the RabbitMQ is also working very good. Like it can handle thousand of events.
The
And yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, like the free switch currently we are using our free switch purpose is to make and receive the calls. So that's why what we did, whatever the processing logics we have for the applications, that we distributed to our microservices basically, and that's way our free switch performance, we can say it's increased a very good, like it's a very high performance it is giving to us, and we can manage thousand of calls in our free switch by leveraging the functionality of these call events.
How many calls do you run on that? Yeah, let's go from there. Like many times we've discussed here, how especially startups, etc., have issues sizing instances. Like you never know how much you will need. Some people spend a lot, some people spend too little. Most spend too little and find out the wrong way. Like when you're successful and your infrastructure goes down. How much processing power do you run for how many calls? Like how many servers and how many channels?
Yeah. So currently, like our one free switch is handling 1,000 concurrent calls, and the specification of that free switch, if you can talk about, so it's around 8 core and 16 GB RAM.
Hmm.
So it's a good one, and
Yes, it is.
we can also currently tune. We are working on the tunings to handle more calls with this processing power. But at least currently we are getting 1,000 concurrent calls on a single free switch, and that's way like currently we are running for our one of the projects, like we are also running multiple free switch instances, which is currently getting, we can say, 5,000 to 10,000 calls. So that is a good, we can say, good features of, or the good performance related things for the free switch, which can handle thousand of calls by leveraging these call events features.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
basically,
we yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, basically like what we did, like we have offloaded all these events to the RabbitMQs, and that's way like it is not impacting any like it is giving us the more performance for this free switch.
That's yeah. We run something slightly different. I'm always happy to discuss that. We generally run nodes that are a little smaller. but then yours is not giant, right? It's we generate on nodes that are a little smaller just because auto scaling is a bit. I'll be honest, because auto scaling is a bit cheaper because you can go up and small and down in smaller increments. So but that's the size. Like, something I think people should start doing is not running FreeSWITCH on 128 cores and 256 gigabytes of memory just because they have it. It will work. It will run 10,000, I don't even know, 20,000 channels. So it's not, but then anything happens to that machine, you lose all the calls. So something people need to do is start running your size or our size, like a bit smaller. It's really, really important. And how many machines do you need to run the actual RabbitMQ? Just one or two?
Three machines we required because for the RabbitMQ clusters,
Okay.
we need a three servers. And by
Oh,
using
so
these three nodes, it is giving us this high availability functionality. So we can easily
oh,
set
so
up this. So
RabbitMQ has built-in consensus, right?
yeah, of course. And the same, like with these three machines, we can set up these cluster things. So anytime one of the nodes will be down, the other two nodes will be there who will serve the purpose, serve the services.
It's a yeah, it's very very efficient. You don't need much in the way of
Right.
you don't need much in the way of actual cost. So how, just to be curious, how many users does this translate to? Like how many people are on the system every day?
For the calls you are saying, or for
Yeah.
the calls, we can say like every day we are processing around for one of the solutions we are processing around 3 to 4 lakhs calls.
Oh well,
Yeah.
that's pretty nice. I think the yeah, it's very you can be very efficient if you do the right thing. So going back to Kafka and RabbitMQ, any tricks to get more performance out of them? Like, what are the main things to look at? You need more RAM, more CPU. It's better to be smaller machines, bigger. What helps?
I think for the RabbitMQ, the base thing is that you can run that RabbitMQ things in minimal configuration servers. For example, 4 cores and 8 GB RAMs. Okay,
Hmm.
and if you are setting up this cluster, I think it is handling thousand of call events. Currently, we have tested around uh, many we can say around 2000 CPS somethings, okay, with the single RabbitMQ, and it is working very good. Like it is giving us a good performance. So yeah, I think if require more calls and more CPS, so of course, like at that time we'll have to increase the specifications for the RabbitMQ. But yeah, as per now, like the current configurations, it is giving us a good performance.
Overall, what are you running this on? Docker, just Iron, Kubernetes? What is based on?
That should be a mix kind of things. Like for some of the projects, like of course we are using the Dockers and Kubernetes also. Okay, and for some of the projects, like directly we are setting up the FreeSWITCH and the RabbitMQ within the OS operating system directly.
Directly in the iron. Yeah, that's something I've seen too. It's not easy to always manage everything. Although
Yeah,
Kubernetes is getting better. We had a very good chat with one of your colleagues a few months ago about your Kubernetes setup, and it's amazing how Ecosmob worked that out. At the same time, when he said it took you a year and a half to effectively get it working and stable, it shows the trade-off. Kubernetes is very good, but it is not something you get started on easily. It is it's really
yeah,
complicated.
of
Like if
course. Like
someone
in
like you
Kubernetes,
took a year and a half.
right. So in Kubernetes also, like if you are planning to use the Kubernetes in our architecture, of course, that should be a many things are there which we will have to tune it, right? Like easily we cannot use it. And in our company also, recently we have also started Kubernetes, like from last 2 to 3 years, we were working on it. And now gradually we are implementing that architecture for our some customers projects also. So gradually, yeah, we have started that things.
That's good. That is a very I think that's a very sensible architecture, knowing that you can do things much different. Oh yeah, one
Yeah,
thing, if how do you handle distributing the FreeSWITCH configuration? Are you using mod.xml curl, or are you building the configs with the free switches?
No, no. Basically, in the free switch, the configurations like we are handling as it is. Like sometimes, of course, this mode XML curl module is very good, right? So through that modules, we can develop some APIs, and through that APIs, we can load our configurations, XML configurations data, right? But sometimes, if we can talk about like I can talk about like I don't want to use any database with the free switch,
Mhm.
because I know like the free switch job is to make and receive the calls, right? So why we have to unnecessarily provide the loads to free switch? Like we have to free switch has to do his job only, right? And that's why what I did, like in architecture level, that processing kind of things, we have developed some microservices, and by utilizing this RabbitMQ in between in our architectures, simply like all the free switch can work as a producer as well as consumer, right? So in free switch, like it can easily produce the events to the messaging queue. And the same way, if we want to execute any API commands of the free switch, right? The same way free switch can also consume the messages. So I think like in FreeSwitch, we have a very good module, mode AMQP, right? So through that modules, we can convert our FreeSwitch as a producer and consumer. And this way, like unnecessary load, like the database and all the connections, we can easily reduce from the FreeSwitch. And FreeSwitch simply focus on the making and receiving calls. That's it.
That is, yeah, that's definitely how you would do it. Like to keep the config as simple as possible and just to distribute the
Yeah,
calls
right.
using the external services. Is some things FreeSwitch does very well. Some other things are better shipped off to different setups.
And that's
So
why
what
like
is
we achieve concurrent calls.
how are the so is this a call center setup first of all, like CCAS call center kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So
Are
like
agents using WebRTC?
For some other solutions, of course, like we are using the free switch for the call center solutions. And
Hmm.
for that, like the free switch working as a dialers, we can say. So in these solutions, as I mentioned, free switch side, we don't have to connect any database, or we don't want to add any extra things over there. The all the application logic, or we can say business logics, that we can manage through our microservices. And that's why like FreeSWITCH is simply focusing on the callings. And due to that, we are achieving more CPS on the FreeSWITCH side, and it is handling more concurrent calls.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the that's that's a very good starting point. What the so yeah, I think the agents yeah, but that's an important question. Are all the first switches in the same area, or are you distribute? How are you load balancing your first switches? Is there something in front, or are they just
Of
one
course.
by one and you just
For the load balancing, that should be a two options. If we want to make a load balancing, we can use the proxy, C proxy. Either we can use OpenSea or Camelio, right? And the second option is that we can also manage the load balancing through our through our microservices. So the in microservices, we can write the logic in a way that it will simply send the messages via this RabbitMQ, or we can say messaging queue, to FreeSWITCH as a round robin manner, right? And that's where also we can manage or the load balancing of the calls on the FreeSWITCH end. So it depends on the solution. Like in some solutions, of course, we'll have to use Camellia or OpenShift, right, to distribute the calls among the multiple free switches. But
hmm?
sometimes in some solutions, if I can talk about this dialer things or something, right? And these solutions, we don't have to use any OpenShift. Like why we have to add unnecessary components in our architecture, right? So that's why like what we did, like through the microservices, we are distributing the calls to multiple free switch.
Makes sense. If it's dialing out, you don't need to. You can just pick a
Yeah.
random server and just go to it, which is well, very
Yeah.
often Camilio in the inbound just doesn't do much more. Like you just run robining for switches or whatever
Right.
strategy works. You don't really do. Camilio is another thing that is the better, the less configuration you put in it, in my opinion, the better it is. It's really okay. So, which countries are you using the solution in currently?
Sorry, Luca.
In which countries are you currently using the solution? Curious where it's deployed.
Uh, there should be many like USA, like many customers we have USA based, as well as the solutions we are providing in Europe also.
Nice, yeah.
So
So
yeah,
there's a lot. And
yeah, there's a lot.
how many agents total are you managing with the solution across all customers?
If we can talk about the Yuka solution with the agents, so it's also depend on the customer requirements.
Of
Like
course.
some of the customers are leveraging 100 agents or 200 agents, and yeah, 100 or 200 maximum. But if some required more, so based on that, we have to tune our architecture, or we can say we'll have to tune our solutions, which can handle more agents. So it is also depends on, currently it is not tightly bind with any agent limitations. It is open to handle as many as agents. So
It's
based
very,
on the
very good.
specific customer needs, we can increase and decrease the agent capacity.
And yeah, I think that's the so this is the one important question which I I always ask because we try to help developers learn and whatnot. How long did it take for a company like Ecosmob to get to the solution, and roughly how many people worked on it?
If you are referring the UC solution, right, Unified
Yeah.
Communication Solutions. So for that, I think basically, if we can talk about the telephony side, okay, I think we need only 1 to 2 developers who know the FreeSWITCH, as well as if we are planning to use the OpenShips and Camelio. So we need that persons, or the single person can also work on it for the telephony side. Now, if we can talk about the web portals and all, right? So of course, like we require the web developers. So if we can consider total, so total, I think 5 to 6 developers should be enough, along with QA.
Well, then that's I mean, shows how the power of open source leads you to be able to build a very good platform in reasonable amount of time and we get reasonable effort. I think the goal here is to I think the goal here is to help people understand where they can get started. So, well, let me phrase this differently. Like, if you're looking to hire someone these days, what are you looking for? Like, do you if someone wants to send you an email saying, "Hey, I want to work with you," which happens, what are you looking for right now? What are the most important skills you think someone needs to work with you?
Basically, I'm looking for the full stack developer, right? Basically, he has to, if he can talk about the VoIP developer, so that person at least know the this free switch, right? Free switch or SIP signaling. I think SIP signaling is the most important, right? And apart from that, like he has to knowledge about this open SIPs, Camelio, free switch asterisks. Along with it, that person also able to know the programming language. And for me, like C++ is mandatory. Okay. But if that persons know about the PHP or any Node.js and Pythons, so it should be, we can say, additional things, or it's good things for that persons. So yeah, that is the things I will check for that persons during the hiring.
Yeah, I think this. You're right.
Yeah, SIP is the mandatory things like.
Yeah, but you can learn a lot. I mean, you need to be a developer. You need to know a language. Now, if you're looking at someone who knows C++, maybe that's a bit narrower. But if you get someone who knows Python, they could probably learn Node or vice versa
Yeah, it should be
without
fine.
issue. But the what you really need to learn, and I keep telling people, like the landscape hasn't changed. Don't get fooled by whatever AI. Don't get fooled by things looking simple. Learn SIP, learn networking, and you'll never be out of a job because it is the most important skill is understanding SIP. That is the most important. The others you can learn. I've seen people
Yeah,
learn.
others can easily learn it, right? It should be easily like the other languages. We can talk about Python, Node, and others. That person can learn anytime, right? But the must thing is SIP. If you know the SIP, the other things you can easily learn, right? Because currently we are managing the VoIP related projects and the solutions. So the SIP is mandatory for the developers.
It is, yeah, it is. It's something you can learn too, but it's not as easy. It's not something you can learn on the job for sure. Although it's not hard,
Yeah,
frankly. SIP is 20 things. You don't need to
right.
you need to know much more. It's those 20, but you need to know them very well. But there's 20 of them, so it's really manageable.
Right.
Cool. So, well, any other remarks you have to give to the audience in your architecture? Is there anything particular you like with what you did? Anything? Yeah, let's play this game. Is there anything you do slightly different? Like, did you do something wrong at the start and you change your mind? That's also important to learn.
Yeah, so something else like I have also like managing some projects related to AIMLs, okay, in my past, like in which like we deliver the solutions by using the free switch only, okay. In free switch,
Mhm.
like we deliver the solutions in which we are doing the transcriptions for the calls and all, real-time transcriptions by leveraging the third-party vendors, we can say AWS and Google's APIs. So that also like I worked on in my past. So yeah, but of course, like in VoIP, we know like every day we have some challenging things are there, right? In each and every project, we have something should be there which will be a challenging things, and yeah, that should be the good things to. And I also like that challenging one.
Mhm. That's a yeah. First, which is great, but trying to make it do it too much, it's going to be a problem. Like you have to want to not do that.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Manish, thank you so much. It was a great chat. We went through a lot. We people certainly have learned a lot, and I thank you for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you, Luca.
Well, to Manish Thakor from Ecosmob joining us today. We went through some projects. We went to the project using FreeSWITCH, Kafka, RabbitMQ, a few of the benefits, and well, it was very, very interesting. And looking forward to more of this. Every time we have someone from Ecosmob, we learn something new. So thank you, Manish, again. And for the rest of the people, I'll see you next week. Goodbye.